The aim of the biota project is to avoid the food crisis. This video is an overview defining the problems. More videos in the video section of www.gbiota.com will show the solution. Have no doubt there is a food crisis coming, and our aim is to help growers set up viable, ethical businesses to supply their local communities with real food. We live in an age which often seems oversimplified and divorced from reality, so need to get our facts right. There is not, and is unlikely to be, a simple shortage of food. The food crisis is far more complex than that, and there's no better way of understanding the food crisis than to study the story of soil. The Earth is over 4 billion years old and just started off as a lifeless lump of rock. Then, from somewhere, possibly from a meteorite, some microbes appeared and started to break down the rocks. Now these microbes, mosses, lichens and fungi had no energy source, so it took over 1 billion years to make a pathetic bit of soil which was no use to man or beast, had there been any about. But it was just enough for some plants to start to grow, and we had what is probably the most important innovation of all time. The plants could extract energy from the sun, which they used to make sugars, which they exuded from their roots, and fed the microbes in that puny bit of soil. This started a chain reaction and fed the microbes. The microbes broke down more rocks to feed the plants. The plants bred and grew, capturing yet more energy. And once this chain reaction had started, it did not take all that long, well, another 1 billion years or so, and the earth became covered in a deep layer of soil. This led to animals, which helped spread the plant seeds, and their manure was a valuable fertilizer, and the earth entered an era with spectacular growth and the weirdest of plants and creatures. Then some 200,000 years ago, humanoid creatures started to appear, spurred on by what must be the second most important innovation in human history, the control of fire and cooking, which meant we could extract many more nutrients from our food. Our brains got bigger, our stomachs got smaller. For our size, we have the largest brains and smallest stomachs of any animal. We just roamed around, finding food wherever we could, and our food had two particularly important features. It was always eaten fresh and was full of microbes. These microbes became particularly important as they formed a brain inside our guts, and the brain controlled our appetite, the replacement of our body parts, and much of our immune system. We became totally dependent on our gut brain. We became one of the longest living creatures on Earth. We were able to live in a wide variety of climates with a varied food supply, and we had a reasonably effective defense system against infections. Then, about 10,000 years ago, we developed the seminal technology of agriculture, which enabled the population to grow and the formation of cities. Before agriculture, the total human population was just bumbling around 1 million or so, and had virtually zero effect on the earth. With the advent of agriculture, population started to grow, but 3 out of 5 babies would die before reaching 5. Another one would die in their teens. But if you survived to 30, you could expect a long life, which would not be out of place in modern society. This high death rate meant that populations did not explode, and it took a while to even reach 1 billion people. But even the early primitive agriculture was devastating to the soil. The continuous harvesting of crops from the same bit of land degraded the land and lowered the nutrient levels in the food. During this early period of agriculture, civilisations would grow and become powerful. Then the soil would degrade and the civilisation would either collapse or move on to a new site. This happened even in modern societies like America, where there was a continuous movement to the west, chopping down forests and harvesting the benefits of age-old soil. This period ended, culminating in the Dust Bowl in the Midwest. Then something really quite extraordinary happened. And to put this in perspective, this happened in my grandfather's time. The Industrial Revolution and the triumph of science and technology. Babies stopped dying en masse and the population exploded around the globe. It zoomed through the million mark, and in my lifetime, global population has trebled. Let us get this in perspective. For some 4 billion years, the Earth just chugged along with things happening remarkably slowly. Even the extinction of the dinosaurs took 1 million years or so. But in the lifespan of one person, me, the population trebled. If that does not stun you, I don't know what will. The dominating factor which allowed this explosion was the development of chemical industrial farming, which again started in my lifetime, has become dominant in the lifetime of my grandchildren. Now let me be fair. Chemical industrial farming has increased food production. While the population has trebled, food production increased by 4.3, almost 50% faster than the population increased. Amazing. But, and it is a very big but, we started to rely on chemicals to supply the nutrients and stopped using the benefit of the soil cycle, with the microbes breaking down the rocks to make mineral-rich soil. Right now, this has led to a dramatic lowering of our gut health. Scientific studies have shown that the remaining hunter-gatherers have a far healthier gut biota than the modern man. It has also meant a significant reduction in the mineral content of our food. I've tried giving talks on the importance of minerals to alert people to the dangers of a low mineral content, and I must admit, often with rather poor response, until I get to zinc. Zinc, you see, is the hanky-panky material. A single hanky-panky uses a lot of zinc and can exceed the daily intake of zinc for a man. No zinc, no hanky-panky, no babies, and the end of humanity. That wakes the sleepers at the back of the room up. At biota, we are into solutions. So now we have defined the problem as lack of gut food and minerals in modern food. We can move on to solutions in the next video. Watch out for Grower 2 on the video menu at www.gbiota.com and see how studying the natural soil cycle has led to the biota technology. The difference is that nature took 4 billion years to make soil. We can do it in 4 months.